We're live. We're ready to go.
Okay, welcome to the inaugural meeting of the Senate Finance Committee. And before we start with our schedule of bills for hearing today, we'd just like to welcome our newest member who left JPR to come and help us here in finance, and that's Senator Reedy. Would you raise your hand, Senator? Thanks so much. We look forward to integrating you right into the work and appreciate your being here. Our first bill today is Bill 86. And okay. And let me just tell you, we're going to take the bills in the order in which they were listed for this hearing today. And these are departmental bills today. And so our first witness is Aaron Roth from the Department of Labor. Okay, well, you're on.
Okay. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Wonderful. Thank you, Madam Chair. So good morning, Madam Chair, Mr. Vice Chair, distinguished members of the Senate Finance Committee. For the record, I am Aaron Roth, Deputy Assistant Secretary for the Maryland Department of Labor's Division of Workforce Development and Adult Learning. Our division includes the state's academic, occupational, and transitional education programs in the state's correctional facilities. Today, I do bring greetings from Labor Secretary Tiffany Robinson and Assistant Secretary Jim Repkowski, who have asked me to present Senate Bill 86 to you this morning. Chair Kelly, we'd also like to thank you for the courtesy of introducing our departmental bill. Thank you. With me, I have Ms. Danielle Cox, Director of the Office of Correctional Education at Maryland Labor. Let me just make sure that she is here. I know that she was in the waiting room. Okay, I see her waving. Fabulous. So Danielle Cox, again, the director of our Office of the Correctional Education at Maryland Labor, is with me. And Senate Bill 86 is a reintroduction of Senate Bill 70 from last year that you may remember. It did pass this committee unanimously and passed the full Senate 46-0 last year. The House hearing was scheduled for March 17th of last year, and unfortunately it was canceled as the session abruptly ended, as we all know. Senate Bill 86 increases the number of mandatory calendar days that an incarcerated individual who does not have a high school diploma or equivalent needs, from 120 calendar days to 240 calendar days, or achievement of a high school diploma, whichever comes first. So in correctional education, we meet our students not only physically where they are, but we meet them academically where they are. And that may be at the 3rd, 5th, 8th, or 10th grade reading and math levels. The reality is that we have found that most inmate students, when they come to our classrooms, are unable to achieve that Maryland high school diploma in 120 days. But we see significant gains, and they do achieve these gains in 240 calendar days or more. Our correctional education teachers and administrators are very passionate about their work. And maybe they didn't reach that student in the first 120 days, but I assure you that they will give it their all to create that spark for knowledge and learning in the next 120 days. A student's completion of a Maryland high school diploma, it opens up so many opportunities for training and work experience behind the fence, and most obviously in their communities upon return. It helps them succeed. This is why we would like you to again pass Senate Bill 86 today. I have submitted written testimony with additional justifications that I believe you have received. But since the Senate has already approved this bill once, I plan to save my more detailed testimony for the House. The department respectfully asks again for a favorable report on Senate Bill 86, and I'm happy to answer any questions that the committee may have. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Are there any questions? I think we had a great introduction to the bill. And I don't see any questions. All right, we'll go into Danielle Cox.
If there are any questions, I will take any at this time, but I believe Aaron
Did a good job.
did a good job.
Okay, doesn't appear to be any. Okay, now there's some, let's see, we have written testimony from 4 individuals from the Maryland Catholic Conference, from the Greater Baltimore Committee, There don't seem to be any negatives, so we hope that this bill will be shortly on its way.
Wonderful. Thank you very much.
Okay. All right, we're going next to Senate Bill 106, and testifying on behalf of this bill will be Bill Higgs, Director of the Department of Assessment and Taxation. As we said, these are all departmental bills today.
Good morning. Can everyone hear me?
Yes.
Terrific. I am Michael Higgs. I'm the chairman of the Department of Assessments and Taxation, and I thank you for the opportunity to testify in support of Senate Bill 106, which regards good standing with the State Department of Assessments and Taxation. The purpose of this bill is to provide additional enforcement mechanism for non-compliant businesses to file required annual reports, and this will create an equal playing field for businesses that follow state law and guidelines. This measure will also codify into law current practice by the department. Maryland law requires businesses to submit annually a report with a $300 payment. Currently, some businesses in Maryland either intentionally or unintentionally avoid this fee by simply not filing. As a result, non-compliant businesses can continue to operate while other businesses operate in compliance under state law. This creates a lack of incentive for businesses to follow state rules and guidelines. In order to get a Paycheck Protection Program or PPP loan, filers had to be in good standing with ESTAT. This led to a flood of applications to our agency and a huge increase in the number of entities that are actually in good standing in the state. Some filers, unfortunately, prior to Governor Hogan's administration, only registered a trade name and didn't actually register their business itself with ESTAT, given that the previous system allowed that to happen. We've closed that loophole since, and trade name registrations can only be reserved for 30 days and at the cost of $30, so that businesses are no longer confused by getting a trade name but not actually registering with the state. This proposed legislation will also identify additional businesses that have failed to submit required annual reports and pay late filing fees, and lead to more businesses being in good standing with the state. After consultation with the Maryland State Bar Association's Business Law Section Council, the department will be requesting an amendment to SB 106 to clarify that this requirement will only pertain to businesses required to submit an annual report to ESTAT. That's all I have for my testimony. If anyone has any questions, I'm happy to answer them.
Okay, thanks for warning us that the amendment is coming. We'll look forward to receiving that. Are there questions? We don't see any, so thanks very much for your testimony.
Thank you for having me.
You are our sole witness on this good bill. Okay. We're going next to Senate Bill 110, Private Passenger Motor Vehicle Liability Insurance Notice Alteration and Requirements. And introducing the bill will be our new Maryland Insurance Administration Commissioner, Kathleen Vereen.
Thank you so much. Good morning, Chair Kelly, Vice Chair Feldman, and committee members. I'm Kathleen Vereen, the Maryland Insurance Commissioner, and I'm here today to testify in support of Senate Bill 110. I'm joined this morning by Robert Barron, our Associate Commissioner for Property and Casualty, and by Michael Patty, our Director of Government Relations. Senate Bill 110 eliminates the outdated requirement that insurance companies send certain policyholder notices in triplicate or duplicate. Specifically, the bill would eliminate the requirement in section 27613 of the insurance article that insurers provide cancellation non-renewal notices in triplicate, and the requirement in section 27614 of the insurance article that insurers provide notices of premium increase in duplicate. In both cases, I want to underscore, insurers will still be required to send these notices to policyholders, the exact same notices by mail, but the notice will be a single paper copy as opposed to using triplicate and duplicate forms. The current law is really an antiquated process that is no longer practical or necessary for consumers or insurers. and this bill updates the law to bring it into conformity with current practice. Policyholders can sign and then mail or fax the notice to the MIA to initiate a complaint, or, as is frankly most common, upload the form online to be sent through the MIA's consumer complaint portal. With that, I'd like to thank the committee for the opportunity to testify today and to remind each of you that the MIA is here to help you and your constituents. Please do not hesitate to contact me or any member of my team directly or through Mr. Patty for assistance. And if a constituent reaches out to you with an insurance-related issue, please continue to direct them to the MIA for assistance. With that, I will close by saying that the MIA supports Senate Bill 110 and urges the committee to give the bill a favorable report. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Are there any questions? All right, well, seeing none, we'll go to the other two witnesses, Robert Barron and then Michael Patty.
Good morning, Robert Barron, Associate Commissioner for Property and Casualty at the Maryland Insurance Administration. My pleasure to be back in front of the Senate Finance Committee. As the Commissioner indicated, there we go. As the Commissioner indicated, this departmental bill is simply a efficiency measure with no adverse effects for consumers or in the consumer protection realm. We urge a favorable report, and I'm happy to answer any questions that you may have.
All right, are there any questions for Mr. Brandt? All right, thank you. And now Michael Patty.
Good morning, Michael Patty with the Maryland Insurance Administration. At this point, I just want to say me too.
Okay, we like that when it's simple and when the bill is obviously worthwhile. Any questions from committee members? Okay, thank you. All right, that's the end of our testimony on that bill. We're going next to Senate Bill 226, Maryland Insurance Administration, delivery of notices and other communications by electronic means. And the Commissioner, Kathleen Barine, will kick it off. Okay, all right. All right, well, we're going.
No, I'm sorry, I'm back.
Okay,
I was having a little tech glitch there, so
okay.
thank you, and good morning to Chair Kelly, Vice Chair Feldman, and committee members. Kathleen Barine again is Insurance Commissioner to testify in support of Senate Bill 226. I'm joined this time by Assistant Attorney General Van Dorsey, the administration's principal counsel, as well as Mr. Patty. Senate Bill 226 allows the MIA to send certain notices and communications by electronic means in lieu of paper means if the recipient has provided the administration with an email address for the receipt of notices and communication. As we all know, business communications have been moving toward electronic methods for a long time, and operations in the context of the COVID-19 pandemic have certainly highlighted the efficiencies and in many cases, the superiority of electronic communications over paper processes. The intent of this legislation is to update the law to allow electronic notices and communications to have the same legal status as ones that are delivered by other means. But again, only if the recipient has provided the MIA with an email address for the receipt of those notices and communications. And with that, I will turn this over to Mr. Dorsey as we urge support for and a favorable ruling from the committee with respect to this bill.
Thank you. Mr. Dorsey?
Good morning. Yes, Van Dorsey on behalf of the MIA from the Office of the Attorney General. As the Commissioner mentioned, electronic means is a much more efficient manner than what we do currently. Currently, by law, they are required to mail or otherwise deliver, in person notices and orders, and that presents a problem, especially in this time of the pandemic. For example, the notices will be sent to a person's place of business as required by law, And as we have seen, and as we've heard from many of the producers, they are now currently working from home. And so there is a delay just because they have to get the notices from their offices before they actually get them. So it takes them longer to respond. In addition to that, we have also heard anecdotally from many producers that the post office has been delayed over the last couple of weeks. And so they have had less time to respond to the orders or the notices that we have sent. And that has presented a problem for them as well. So this will be a much more efficient way. It's a way of modernizing the code and puts it really more on par with the notices that the industry sends out to many of their people as well. With that, I will stop unless there are any further questions.
Are there any questions? All right, I think you guys have made your case, and thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, we're going next to Senate Bill 206, State Collection Agency Licensing Board Sunset Extension. And we'll start again with Mr. Salazar from the Department of Labor.
Unmute, start video. Okay, good morning. Senator, can you hear me, Senator Kelly?
Yes, we hear you.
All right, very good. I appreciate that. Good morning, Senator Kelly, Vice Chair Feldman, and the distinguished members of the committee. For the record, my name is Tony Salazar. I'm the Commissioner of Financial Regulation. Secretary Robinson and I appreciate the introduction of Senate Bill 206, which I'm presenting today, and requesting a favorable committee report on the bill. It's a sunset reauthorization of the State Collection Agency Licensing Board in accordance with the Maryland Program Evaluation Act, which is known as the Sunset Law, to extend the board's operations until July 1, 2032. And if I can just take a minute to tell the board a little bit about the board, to tell the committee a little bit about the board and go forward with that. So the board was established in 1977. It resides in the Office of the Commissioner of Financial Regulation. It has responsibility for licensing and regulating over 1,400 collection agencies that operate in Maryland. It enforces the Maryland Consumer Debt Collection Act and mediates disputes between consumers and collection agencies. The board, which meets regularly, informs the licensee and public about abusive debt collection practices, and it's continuing to actively work for the good of all Marylanders as it supervises the licensing of collection agencies and ensures a fair regulation of the collection industry. At the conclusion of the previous sunset period, the Department of Legislative Services stated that the board, in conjunction with the Commissioner's Office, had admirably confronted many challenges and increased regulatory responsibilities while it continued to protect Maryland consumers. And since that time, the board and the Commissioner's Office have continued to confront the challenges facing the consumers. And I can give the committee just two quick examples. In 2017, the board entered into a consent order with a major debt collection agency regarding the collection of short-term payday loans that resulted in $480,000 in restitution and $130,000 in penalties and fees. And more recently, the board entered into a consent order with one of the largest collection agency groups in the country that required them to have a reasonable basis to collect and to substantiate any purchase debt they tried to collect. And they had to meet certain standards when initiating collection actions against Maryland consumers. So as chairman of the board, I want the committee to know that the board remains committed to accomplishing the legislature's longstanding objective of ensuring industry compliance with Maryland law and generally promoting a safe and sound collection agency. In the bill file, you should have received letters of support from the Maryland bankers and other groups, including the Conference of State Bank Supervisors, which I think was a little late yesterday, so they may have sent them to individual members. But I appreciate the opportunity to provide this description. And with that, I ask for a favorable committee report. I'm happy to answer any questions or provide any additional information.
Are there any questions?
Madam Chair, I have a question.
Yes, Senator Hayes.
I'm curious, and it don't really address it in the bill folder, but I'm not, I guess I'm not clear on why there's a need for a sunset if it's providing such a valuable function. Is there some history on why there's a periodic sunset of the board?
It's my understanding that there's a sunset for most of the agencies and the board, so we're not singled out in any way.
Okay, so it's just being consistent with everything.
Correct.
Gotcha. Thank you, Madam Chair.
For one thing, when the sunset review period comes up, there is a general total review at that point in time of everything about the board. Does something need to change? And rather than to maybe skip some, everybody sort of gets called in when it's the appropriate time, and they give us a good review of how the board is working, what the problems are, if there are any, and of how they're adjusting and what things in the external environment might call for changes in regular.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And your words, you just made me smarter. I knew there was a reason behind it. I just wasn't sure what that was. So thank you.
Okay, good question. Thanks. All right, and then finally, we're going to Senate Bill 281, Office of Commissioner of Financial Regulation, Sunset Extension, and Mr. Salazar, Tony Salazar will take it away.
Thank you, Chair Kelly, Vice Chair Feldman, and distinguished members of the committee. Again, for the record, Tony Salazar. I'm the Commissioner of Financial Regulation. Secretary Robinson and I appreciate the introduction of Senate Bill 281 to continue the long tradition of the Office of the Commissioner. We just finished a 110-year anniversary. So I'm proud to be here today to present the bill to seek extension for another 10 years under the Sunset Law to 2032. The department obviously fully supports the legislation. Let me just again give a little brag on our agency. We right now supervise 29 Maryland banks, 7 credit unions, and 4 trust companies, as well as over 17,000 non-depository financial institutions, which cover the gamut of lending, mortgage, consumer, debt management, sales finance. Our office protects consumers, and it's Maryland's Financial Consumer Protection Agency by examining, investigating, and pursuing enforcement actions when appropriate against individuals and entities. We maintain the foreclosure registry systems, and we're responsible for monitoring certain foreclosure practices. And as well, the new student loan ombudsman is housed in our office. So as it has for the last century of its existence, the office has successfully met its mission during this last sunset period. Maryland benefits from having a safe, strong, and competitive financial services industry and a sound regulatory environment that encourages innovation. There's letters of support that detail the recent success the office has had in regulating the industry and in helping startup companies. You'll see that over the last 10 years, we've taken hundreds of enforcement actions. We've reached pattern-setting settlements with industry-leading companies, most recently NationStar Mortgage Corporation, and we've obtained millions of dollars in restitution for Maryland's consumers. We're an accredited office, we're a well-respected regulator, and we believe that extending the operations for 10 years will effectively protect Maryland consumers at a cost-efficient way. So as I mentioned, we also have letters of support in the bill, and there should be one from the Conference of State Bank Supervisors with whom we coordinate on the national level. And with that, I respectfully request a favorable committee report. I'm happy to answer any questions or provide any additional information as the committee may request.
Are there any questions? All right, well, seeing none, that ends the testimony on this bill.
Thank you, Chair Kelly.
As we said at the beginning, all of these bills we had last year, and they simply didn't get through because of our abrupt ending for the session. This is our maiden voyage, and again, we want to welcome our newest member. He's not new to the General Assembly or to the Senate, but to Finance, and that's Senator Reedy. Want to raise your hand, Justin? Okay, and if you can be helpful to Senator Reedy in any way, he's real smart. I remember him from judicial proceedings. So right now, we'll probably continue in this mode, and we are trying initially, while people are getting our bills properly ready, the things that are absolutely new for prime time, and getting all of our co-sponsors. We're working with these bills that we had last year and that are back here because we had to end prematurely and didn't get them through on the floor. Yeah, are there any questions or recommendations from any of our members?
Madam Chair.
Yes, Mr. Vice Chair.
Yeah, I was curious if Senator Reedy wanted to say anything about how excited he is about the major upgrade in committee assignments that he, I'll let you, if you want to say a few words, Justin. I know that we're anxious to get on the committee, so why don't you say something to the committee?
Oh, come on.
Well, I'm very excited to be back with my friend and mentor, Dolores Kelly, Senator Kelly, the chairwoman.
You was kind to me when I was.
We had a great time on Well, we had a few. We had some great times. We had a few battles too, but in a good way. So looking forward to working with you again, and Senator Feldman, Vice Chair Feldman, and all the members. And I plan to try to just sink my teeth in and get moving. I am not an attorney. I was on JPR for 6 years, but I am not an attorney. I actually have an MBA and work in business outside of this. So excited for some of the opportunities. I was on the Health and Government Operations Committee in the House for 4 years. And so I at least know what the HSCRC is, which was better than when I first started in the General Assembly. So I know some of the alphabet soup at least, but looking forward to working with you all. And if I can be helpful to you, or if you see me doing something you think I should, be aware is maybe not the best idea, feel free to let me know.
And welcome to Senate Finance. And I'll remind everybody, you might want to reach out to Senator Benson. I think her sister's funeral is today. So that's why she is not with us at this time. And so give her, I started to say give her a hug, but she needs you to keep your distance. So do whatever to show her that we care. If you have any questions or any recommendations for us, and if not, then we'll sign off for today. Okay. Yes. Did you have your hand up, Mr. Vice Chair? Okay. Thanks so much, everybody. That ends our bill hearing.